All right, guys, we're back in the studio here. We got JP Hood. We'll let him give himself a bit of an intro. That's how we do it around here. If he holds back, we'll fill you in.
Cool. What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. My name's JP Hood. I sell houses for a living. So I'm a real estate agent here in Erie, Pennsylvania. I work for a company called Joe Herbert Realty. That's kind of what I do. I like helping people buy and sell houses. I'm kind of good at it. And I also like talking with people and just inspiring people to do things that they like to do. So that's kind of me.
Wonderful. And we just did a podcast together recently, so I kind of know some of the backgrounds, but talk about like where you went to high school, college, and kind of like the background behind your story.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a Harbor Creek Husky graduate, class of 2011. Then I went to Edinboro University, graduated in 2015 with a criminal justice degree. And then I jumped into the workforce. I lived in Oregon for a quick minute. Like I moved across the country to pursue snowboarding for a little bit. That's kind of one of my cool things I like to talk about. Lived in my car. And then came back, started working at a juvenile detention center. Did that for about 3 years. Went into healthcare. Did that for 2 years. Became a real estate investor while I was working at the healthcare place. And then kind of went full-time real estate, quit my job. Probably 2 years. We're approaching 2 years now, and been full time in real estate for a little over a year. COVID kind of hit, and I couldn't really do real estate, so I quit my job and sat at home for a while, but learned and then came out firing, and I've been selling a lot since. So that's kind of where I'm from. Harbor Creek, a little hometown boy, and help people buy and sell in my neck of the woods.
Absolutely. I mean, I just know because I'm like referencing back to our podcast we just did.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a good podcast. So that'll be coming out eventually. That 814 Digital Podcast. We just did that with JP. So let's just jump right into it. You've been doing. I know this because we did the podcast. You've been doing real estate for a little over a year now, or is it 2 years?
So I've been an investor for 2 years, but I've been a real estate agent for about a year. So I just hit my year in early August, so about 13 months now.
Yeah, and it seems like you've had a lot of success from, through the grapevine. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I've sold about 56 houses in my first year, which to me, like I do everything on my own. Like I kind of work alone, so I just kind of go as hard as I can. And then people are like, wow, like you're doing some things that we've never seen people do before. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to hear that. I'm in my own world. I'm selling as much as I can, and I'm helping as many people as I can. If that means that I'm doing crazy things, then so be it. But it's nothing new because I've been working my entire life. That this work ethic kind of just transferred from everything I was doing, and I put it into this, and it just blossomed into this. So if that's wild to some people, maybe they should work harder.
They're saying it's crazy in a bad way?
It's crazy in, like, when you become a brand new real estate agent, like, the average realtor sells, like, 7 to 10 houses in their first year. I sold 56, 57, so, and it was, like, $6-point-something million worth of sales volume, which, like, to me, I know I can do better, but to some other people, they're like, holy cow, like, how'd you do it? Like, social selling, social media. 100%. So,
yeah. I mean, it's just little more than $6 million in revenue or profits.
So gross, exactly? It's like gross volume sales. So like, say a house is worth $100,000.
Yeah.
I've sold 57 of them to equal out to about a little over $6 million, which is a ton. So every transaction, like you have to be in it with that person. That you want to make sure that person is being taken care of to the best ability. So it's managing your time and just making sure you're well organized. But thankfully, my other past careers and jobs have built me up that, this isn't anything crazy. Being able to organize your schedule and manage your time is like something that I've been doing forever. So now I just have a platform and it goes from there.
So when you're looking at a property, what makes it worth your time and investment in a property? Are you willing to sell anything?
I sell anything, big or small. I sell it all. I tell people that. It really depends on the buyer. Like for me, if I'm an investor and I'm looking at a property to buy, like I own 5 apartments myself, and if I'm going to buy something, it has to hit the numbers. You know, there's certain numbers that I want to have my budget fall in and what it produces for income wise. So I take that approach when I work with my consumers, my clients. Like I treat every house how I would buy it. And I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards me. It's because I'm real. I'll walk into a house and I'll tell somebody straight up if I think this is not a good buy. Now, if they want to buy it because they see something that I'm not seeing, you know, that happens. But a lot of the times I work with first-time home buyers, so people that are brand new into this. You know, say you're 22 years old and you want to buy a house, you call me. I show you, you know, as many houses as it takes for you to feel comfortable in getting your first house. You know, and it's crazy right now. I don't know if you guys are aware. It's one of those things, like I feel like unless you're in the real estate world, I mean, everyone kind of knows, but the housing market is insane right now. So like there's super low inventory with super low interest rates. So it's like last year at this time, say there was 1,000 houses on the market. Right now there's 400. And now you have so many more buyers that want to buy all these houses. So every time we go show a house, like I walk in there and you're working with a new young buyer and you look at them and you go, if you like this house, unfortunately, you need to have an answer within a half hour, an hour, because it's going to get sold. And then even if you do put an offer in, you got to go above asking, or you got to waive contingencies. You have to do all these different things to win a house. So right now is like really, really hard to buy a house unless you can go in there and buy cash. Like people are buying houses cash, like $380,000 houses, cash money, you know, walking in there, putting it on the table. Imagine you're a first-time home buyer. You need a first-time home buyer loan. Those have their own special type of contingencies on it. Sellers don't care about that. They're taking the sure thing. So right now is a really hard time for first-time home buyers. Second-time home buyers, still, it's just a hard time in general. Now, if you're a seller, you're making good money on it. Like people are selling their houses and moving into apartments because they're like, I'm going to take advantage of this crazy market. So I don't even know where our point was, but what I look at for houses is like, you know, I just make sure I treat it like how I would be going in there. So if you guys wanted to buy a house, in that moment, I have your best interest. So I want to make sure that you guys are taken care of. We find the house that fits perfect for both of you guys. So it's like the wild, wild west out here in the real estate world. And you talk to anybody that's thinking about buying a house or in the market, they're going to tell you the same thing. It's like intense. So for me to sell 57 in the craziest market, that's also what makes what I'm doing kind of crazy. But I just love it. You know, I love the competition side of it. I love like the chase to find a house. I love the like being the first one into a house. Like I'm super quick. Like I do this 24/7. So I'm like the first one in the house most of the time and get an offer in and I like force their hand. I'm like, hey, we need an answer. We need an answer. You know, it's cutthroat out here. So.
Yeah, no, I can relate because my neighbors just put their house up for sale, like back home in Ohio, and it was sold that day.
Yeah,
it was just
probably like 20 showings too. You probably saw it was like
a million people just coming in and out, and then they were just like, "Yep, we're leaving. See you." And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. It takes about 45 days, 30 to 45 days to close on a house. So like once you see a sign in the yard and it goes for sale and then goes pending, that sign sits in that yard for 45 days. So people drive by and they're like, "Oh, is this for sale?" And it's like, "No, that sold 32 days ago." Sorry, like it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's a crazy market, and it's impressive that you were able to, you know, just do the numbers you're doing this for your first year.
Yeah.
In 2021, what a crazy year.
Yeah, I think it was in the last quarter. So there's a list. So there's like 700 agents in Erie, and I think I sold the like third most in Erie County last year out of 700, or last quarter out of 700. I think currently ranked top 30, something like that. I made Erie Choice top 5 realtor. I didn't win. I just found out in between this, I didn't even make the top 3. I was a little butthurt about it, but what do I expect? You know, making top 5 my first year. Next year I'm coming for the title. So if you're any of you guys watching, coming for it next year.
Yeah, if you need a house, he's your man. That's all I know.
Amen. Amen. We win. That's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, I feel like people are always like, I can't win a house or anything. I'm like, well, maybe you're not working with the right person. I literally was at a Labor Day party yesterday or 2 days ago, and I left at 7:30 to go show a house because I knew that house was going to sell by the next day because it was such a, like, and I went, and then I battled out for it today, and I found out I won earlier, and it was like me versus somebody else. And if I wouldn't have went and showed it during the party, that person would never have got the house. So it's like always being ready. And I think some realtors aren't, they're not ready to do it 24/7. Like if you want to help as many people as I'm helping, and you want to do what you're doing, like it's a 24/7 job, 365. It's so hard, but it's fun.
I think that goes back to your point you said earlier before we were actually recording. You said you're just kind of like a new age. All these people are trying to do things old school, and you're trying to shake things up. Like they just want to have the classic, like work from here to here, make good money, like have a comfy life.
Yeah.
You're out there grinding, and it's showing.
Yeah. There's a lot of, don't get me wrong, there's so many nice agents, and there's so many great agents out here, but there's some people that are just straight rude in there because they've been doing it for longer. So then somebody new comes along and does what I'm doing. I just, I'll call somebody and I'll just get the cold shoulder. I'm like, but I just butter them up with, some sweet talk and get to the next step. But there's people that there's a certain way that real estate was sold back in the day, or, in the last 10 years, that now it's becoming like anything is changing. Everything is changing. Like the way of the world is becoming more social, and it's becoming more online and all that stuff. And just imagine like a 60-year-old real estate agent doing TikTok dances. Like sometimes that's not gonna look as bad. Like it's not gonna come off as
cheesy.
Yeah. Now a kid like me, I do some cheesy TikTok dances. Yes, it looks cheesy, but you're like, okay, at least he's young, and like it kind of makes sense. So
I love your TikTok. I like get like caught like scrolling through it because I'm like, I just see it like on my For You page. I'm like, this guy.
They're corny, but the biggest thing is they're attention grabbers.
They really are.
Like people are always like, my family, like I was at this picnic and they're all like, when's the next TikTok? When are you doing this next little thing? Cause like, it's also, I talk, like I give good advice in it. Like, it's not like it's like how to buy a house, but with a little rap song on. And it's like, I bring it back to, some fun stuff. So to show that it's not all serious, but when we get into the realness of buying a house, it's 100% serious. Like I run a legit business, and it's crazy where it's like social media me versus like in-person me are two totally different people. And it's like, I'm like a tiger out there trying to get those sales and get those people in the homes. Like that's the ultimate goal of it. But yeah, enough of me.
I want to rotate back one thing you said in the beginning. You said you like selling houses. You like helping people, and you're good at it.
Yeah.
Did you like it, and then you got good at it, or you were good at it, and you're like, all right, I like doing the good. Like not that like you're like, oh, I don't care about doing the good. Like which one came first?
I think I've always been. I mean, you talk to my girlfriend, she'll say I'm a jerk sometimes, but like I was raised by a single mom with two brothers and sisters. My father passed away when I was 4 years old with brain cancer, and so I was raised by a single independent woman working. She's worked for her company for 46 years, so I've watched her every day wake up and go to work and make sure that we've never missed a meal on our table, and I've watched her do the things that she's done to get me in the position to be a good person. So I think I've been a good person, or I try to make sure I respect for my mom and like what she's taught us and ethics and everything like that. So that kind of came natural. Like when I was working at the juvenile detention center, like I was working with kids 10 to 16 years old, and like I was like a father figure and making sure, they had everything they needed, and I was like a therapist and all this stuff. And so now in real estate, I'm like a therapist, I'm a counselor, I'm all this stuff in one. I'm compassionate. I'm there when a stressful situation, I have a deeper voice. So some people gravitate towards that because they're like, okay, it's stressful. It's like something's going wrong. But if JP's not freaking out, then we shouldn't freak out. Like I have a client right now. She's like, JP, you should never do anything other than sell real estate because I've been freaking out this whole entire process. And she's like, I didn't even know if you sweated. Like you didn't even sweat in this whole situation. I was like, listen, I was a little nervous at that last point. And she was like, are you kidding me? I didn't even know. I'm like, yeah, I was a little nervous. She was like, wow, you didn't let me know. But being a good person comes from my upbringing. And so then just jumping into real estate, helping people and seeing people in their most like vulnerable moment where they're, I'm dealing with their finances, and like they're, 99% of people don't want to talk about money, or they don't want to talk about what they make or what they can afford for a house-wise. So like having that weight on my shoulders, and then just knowing that I can help them get into a good situation or avoid a negative situation. So being a good person, it's just like, I think that's came first. And then I've just been a social person my entire life. So
Yeah, I think everybody nowadays just wants to get, and they don't want to give anything. And like it's just that law of giving, that you have to put something out there, give value, and then it'll come back. You just have to be willing to put it out, and that's how it's gonna come back to you.
Yeah,
and
like
it's obviously coming back.
Exactly, like put good into the world and you'll get good out of it. There's moments where I'm sure you guys have those moments where you're feeling down in the dumps. So you're like, I'm not doing enough. I'm a workaholic. So there's moments where like when I take a day off, I'm like, I shouldn't take a day off. Like, but then I know I'm like, I deserve it. I work every day. I help so many people. Like I can take this moment, and I catch myself at the end of the day going to the office, checking on some paperwork, following up with a client. And it's hard, but all that stuff adds up because we're young. I'm still young. And it will pay off in the end, and people see the end goal, or people see what you put online. They don't understand what comes with it. The years of working, to get to a point where I'm actually kind of doing well now, but to somebody it's like, oh, it's overnight success. No, it's, you haven't been along with me for that 28 years of struggle to get to this point, So
Yeah, that's the one thing we love touching on this podcast. It's just like you're much further ahead than a lot of other people we get on, but a lot of people are just like college kids that are like starting to do like little businesses, and like sure, the business that we have them on for might fail, but in 10, 15 years, they're going to have another business that's super successful, and they're like, oh, what did it take? It's going to take the 3 failed businesses or 3 whatever didn't work out before then to learn. Like what you already said, you're good at the job you have now because you were pretty good at 3 other jobs, and you took something away from all 3 of those, and now you put all 3 of them together, and now you're kicking ass at what you're doing now.
Well, like I was so between us and whoever watches this, so little known fact about me is I probably had like 25 jobs in my life since I was like 12. So my mom kind of forced me into, working. Like I was a bat boy for the Erie Seawolves at 12 or 13 years old till I was like 15, 16. Like I've worked so many jobs because I snowboard, so I work at the Peak. So I would work at the Peak every winter, but then during the summer, I would just get a new job. So I'd just go do something cool every summer. I'd get, in college, I'd work different jobs. So I didn't know in the moment, like people were like, why are you always switching jobs? It wasn't like I was getting fired. I'd wanted to do something different. Like I worked at Tim Hortons. I worked at the casino. I worked as a valet. I still work as a valet at the Erie Club, just for fun. And then I worked at restaurants. And so like, I probably worked 25. I think I tried counting it a couple of days ago, and it was like 25 jobs since I was like 13. Like I ran a firework tent. So this is a crazy story. I ran a firework tent, and I was probably like 19, and I was on Craigslist, and I found this firework tent. You know those ones that are in like Walmart?
My dad did one when he was like out of college.
Yeah, and they're like, you can guarantee you'll make $5,000 in 14 days. I'm like, $5,000 in 14 days? Sign me up.
Yeah, you're like,
so
stupid not to.
I'm like 19, and I'm like, they say you have to be 21 because you have to sign for it all. So I got my mom to like sign for it, to co-sign for it, and they drop all these fireworks. I was at the Harbor Creek Walmart in this back parking lot. This is like probably 7 years ago, and they drop them off, and they don't give me a crate to load them. They're like, well, you have to stay here overnight to watch these fireworks because somebody could come and steal them. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like some other companies, they have like crates where you can put the fireworks in at night. And so I'm like 19. I was working at National Fuel as a summer job, 8 to 4. So I hired my buddy Austin to come work from like 4 to 10. Or no, I had hired him to work 8 to 4. So he would show up in the Harbor Creek Walmart parking lot for 14 days, and he would work there, and I'd go to my other job, and then I'd come right straight there. But I had to sleep in the tent. So I brought a couch from my mom's house, and I had a baseball bat because I was like, somebody's going to break into this tent. And I still remember like peeking out of the tent and watching like a domestic dispute like 15 feet away from the tent at like 3 a.m. and I'm just gripping this baseball bat and I'm like, what am I doing? I ended up losing money because nobody bought these fireworks because they were terrible fireworks. They're like poppers, you know, they weren't real fireworks. And then I had to hire a U-Haul to take them all back. I think I profited $1,000 on it, and I had to pay my buddy Austin. But like I did something like that. That was the like only thing I sold, and you know that's just crazy. Like I've just done stupid things that I tried to make money growing up, and it, you know, now I'm finally doing something that generates income. You know.
Speaking of the
Domestic dispute.
domestic dispute, last night actually.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in my house doing homework, and one of my roommates comes out. He's like, yo, there's like a girl like screaming behind the house. So we're like, okay. And so like everybody's like quiet, and we can like hear just like yelling outside. Like we should probably like go out and like see
It's
what's up.
Not even late.
It's
like
not even 10.
9:30. Yeah, 9:30 maybe.
And so me and my buddy just walk out. There's like a parking lot right behind our house. We walk out.
You guys live near Gannon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we live on campus. Yeah.
Okay.
And we walk out, and we're like walking down the street. We can hear these voices yelling, but we don't know where they are. And we like turn the corner around our house, and we just see like now I see the girl yelling, and there's a dude like standing like over her and like has her like pinned up against like this car on the street.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I was like, now I got to go scrap with this person because like, so we get closer, and a car like just comes like pulling up, and a lady jumps out, and she was like, get in the car, like all this stuff, and we're like pretty close now. Like I'm like, we just continue walking, and this girl is just like crying and screaming, and I'm like, we're like this far away, like you were the girl and I'm me, and just walking,
Yeah.
and she like turns around and she's like, get the fuck out of my face.
To you?
To me. I'm just like walking. And she's like, I'll fuck you up. Like, just like scream crying. And I'm like, walking. I'm like, I'm going to get punched in the face. Because she's like walking at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was just like so ready to take it. I was just like, I'm getting punched in the face, and that's okay, I guess. And so she doesn't hit me, thank God. And I walk by, and the guy that was like, I guess it was her brother, and it was like their dad's like death anniversary or something. And so like they were just like all bent out of shape. But I was like, and then we walk across the street to one of the girls' soccer houses. It was across the street, and they were outside because there's a girl screaming outside.
Yeah.
And we're just like, yo, like, you guys okay? And they're like, yeah, they're just making sure she's okay. And now she's sitting in this car, and she like rolls the window down, and she's like, just not screaming at us. She was like, get out of here, like all this stuff, like, and we're just making sure you're okay. And she was like, I'll never forget. I was legitimately scared for my life. She was like, you guys better get out of here. I'll fucking light that porch up right now. And I'm like, oh God, like we got to go now. And so we took off. We're like, yeah, I'm not messing with that.
Took off as in like 3 more steps to our house.
Yeah. Like right around the corner of the house.
Yeah, we just
Like
went.
not, not to safety, literally just in our home.
We went and made some pizza rolls and watched some Netflix.
I was like,
back to homework.
yeah, I was like, I had to do a project last night too, and I'm like all jacked up on adrenaline from that. Anywho,
That's funny.
to get back on topic a little bit here, let's say you are looking for a house and you know everything you know now. What are some red flags when like trying to find like the right agent to get a house from? So what are some like red flags you would say?
Like if I wasn't a real estate agent and I was trying to buy a house,
Right.
So if your real estate agent doesn't answer you and you text or call them and within maybe 24 hours, like if I'd give them 24 hours, but then if they don't and you're like, you know exactly what house you want to see and you're like, hey, can I go see 123 Apple Street? And you don't get any response for like a day. And then 123 Apple Street, you look the next morning, is sold. And you could have bought that house because you're ready to buy. You're pre-approved. You have everything ready. You got enough money in the bank. And they don't answer your phone call. And then they text you and they go, hey, sorry, I was busy or something. Okay, I'm finding a new real estate agent right away. I'm calling JP Hood because at least he'll answer. I have my phone on me at all times. Another red flag would be if they limit your showings. You know, if they're like, hey, you've already seen enough houses, or you Like, you can't come back. Like, we've already looked at this house 3 times. If you're not going to buy it, there's no sense of coming back. You know, listen, it's somebody's first time buying a house, or somebody's biggest expense in their life, and I'll go back 100 times to make sure that they're comfortable. Now, there's a counter to that, where like listing a house. So there's 2 sides to buying real estate. So there's a buying side and a listing side, like a selling side. So if I'm asking somebody to sell their house, or somebody calls me and they want me to sell their house, most of the time people interview real estate agents to find the best realtor that will do a good job. Every real estate agent can do the same thing. You know, we all have the same license. We all have the same capabilities to a point, but it comes down to work ethic and determination. So red flags for both sides would just be if they're not hungry. This is a market where if you're not hungry and you're not willing to help your people, your clients, the people that pay you thousands of dollars to help them, then find a different real estate agent, because you deserve better. And if somebody makes you feel like you're a nuisance, like if somebody talks down to you, you're better. Find somebody better. If somebody belittles you for asking silly questions, you deserve better. Find somebody better. There's better people out there. Because I see it all the time. Just know what you're worth, because you're buying your biggest expense, and if that person isn't willing to help you for what you deserve better. So red flags are just if they don't treat you like a real human being, or just like brush you off, and you're not worth their time. Find somebody better, because you are worth their time. You know.
All right. I have a question that I think a lot of our viewers could benefit from. You are a college kid. You're an upperclassman. You're going to look for some sort of apartment.
Mm-hmm.
What am I looking for when I go to walk through? 1, with the house, and 2, with the person.
So if you're gonna college housing, man, I look back. So I own 5 apartments, and most of my apartments, like actually all of my apartments, are in pretty good shape. But it's hard to make sure that they're perfect all the time. You know, there's always gonna be something breaking. Like my fridge at my one just broke. But if my expectations from when I was in a college senior and junior, when I was living off campus, to what my expectations in a house now are completely different. Like, I would have lived in a dirt shack because all I cared about was, you know, having my own place, or like having a place where I wasn't at my mom's house.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, is this luxury plank flooring? Are these newer windows? Are they, you know, can I pull them in and clean them? You know, that, you know, is this big enough tub? Can I sit in this? Can I do that? You know, the things that I have now are completely different. So it really depends on what your standards are when you're in college. So like, I don't know if you guys care where you live. It's more about having a soft bed and a place to study. And, you know, if you're going out to the bars, just a place close to campus. So most of the time, landlords, you'll see like in college housings, they just make sure it's 4 walls and you have enough spot, enough space. You got electric, you got running water, you got things aren't broken, windows aren't broken. You know, there's doors, or everything's in good shape. But I've noticed with some of my college tenants that they don't really care for the things that other people want. They just want a place. Like, they won't call you. Like, the worst thing when you have to deal with a college tenant, like if something breaks, half the time they don't even tell you. So like, you come in there and you're like, whoa, that's broken. I would have fixed that. Like, I got a maintenance guy on payroll ready to go fix something. And sometimes I feel like college students, they think we're gonna get mad, or like landlords are gonna get mad, but realistically, like we expect that. You know, everybody has budgets. Like, most investors that rent to college kids know they're renting to college kids. Like, this isn't their first rodeo. So there's a budget. You know, they got an expense budget if they need something fixed. Now, you get somebody that's mean about it, they'll take your security deposit. But I mean, for the most part, we expect little things. Now, if we come back and every window's broken and all this stuff, then it's a different situation. But like, you're moving your mattress and you bump a wall, you know, we understand that. Well, I understand that. So college rental, like when you're in college versus like the next step when you find like a place that your next outside of college rental is going to be completely different. Now, you get some people that are like live in these super nice places when they're in college, and I don't understand that life because that's not me. I'm a low budget, come from. I just take what I have. So really depends. As long as there's 4 walls,
You can keep talking.
Yeah.
Like what's your dorm? What's your apartment look like?
Our house.
I'm so glad you asked.
I actually would love to bring you through it. That would be hilarious. That would be a hilarious piece of
You got
content.
beer boxes on the walls.
Oh,
No,
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 we
no,
don't
no,
drink.
no,
We're
no,
21.
no, no, yeah, we're not
We're
21. 1. And 2, the school owns our house.
Oh.
But like this is what I meant more like for my question was like the tiles are like peeling off the floor and like there's tile everywhere. Like
Yeah.
around the window, I'll have to dig way back in these pictures. But like
They look
around
like they're 1980s.
around the
places.
windows there's like square tiles around everything and they're like falling off, like whatever they use to stick them on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
there's
it's a
budget.
disaster.
Like people are, I'll see. There's a difference between a landlord and a slumlord. I don't know if you've ever heard the terminology of a slumlord, where they just like put you in the house, don't do anything. There's cockroaches in the house. There's, flies and bugs and all that stuff. But just sometimes different things.
This is the day we showed up. Like,
Yeah.
tiles peeling off the floor.
oh god.
Not my girlfriend. There's like these tiles just like
How much do you pay a
falling
month?
off.
I don't even know.
It's per semester.
Yeah.
How
'cause
much do you
it's-
pay per semester?
I think it's like 2,800.
28. That's
2,800.
everything.
Everything.
Because we don't pay for laundry, water, electric.
So what
They
is
cut our
Wi-Fi,
grass.
cut our grass.
How many
fix
months is
anything
per
with free.
semester? What is a semester? Like,
Well,
can you live
basically,
there?
we can't live there in June.
So you could
June
stay
and
there
July.
during
10 months.
So you could stay 10 months. So you pay $5,000. Say, what did you say? $2,700 times 2. So you're paying like almost $5,500 for 10 months. So what's that? 550 a month. That's not bad. I charge certain amounts for different areas. But how many bedrooms are in it?
It's like it sleeps 6 people.
Wait. So you guys are in a house. So
House.
each of you pay $550.
Yeah.
a month.
Yes.
Yeah, so they
How
they-
many-
They
so
make
many-
money. There's
so-
6 of us there.
So 6 of you pay $550.
Yeah,
So $550 times 6.
I'm not a math guy.
$4,000.
But we also get housing grants and shit like
Right,
that.
Yeah.
right.
I know.
That's
I look
stupid
back.
school.
I look back at I still drive by 215 East Normal Street out in Edinboro. It's like right across the campus. And I remember living there with my 3 buddies. We had like posters all over the wall. And I remember paying because I worked every summer. I had to work to pay for the place. Like, I have loans for other things, but I tried to save as much as I could so I could pay rent basically, but semester wise. And I look at them like these people were just cleaning up. I was paying, each of us were paying this, and this. I'm like, now that I'm in real estate, I'm like, wow. The craziest thing I look at is, so I went to college. You try to get a job that's going to help you make money, but then the whole perception of living in a rental property. So how I got started was buying a rental, living in it, kind of living off some.
You live on one side, a duplex.
So I live in a triplex. So I live on the bottom. Me and my girlfriend live on the bottom, and I rent the top 2 floors out. And so we bring in enough where the
You
rent.
live for free.
I live for free. Yeah. So now I can save. I was paying like $800 a month for rent. So now I save $800 a month. It's like $9,700 a year that I don't have to pay for. I am a saver, so I pay rent to myself, but I just put it in there so that I have an extra savings account. But I look back at it in college. So say I'm 21 years old and I'm living in this apartment. It's an upstairs, downstairs duplex. And the people that own that house were looked at as like, hey, these are our landlords. But realistically, they probably owned a bunch of houses. That's their only job. So I'm going to college to go get a job that, in realistic, making $50,000 a year. These landlords are over here, people are making this kind of killing money. And it was in my face, but I never knew it. Nobody, like college kids don't know that. Like they don't understand these different things. I still remember my buddy had a girlfriend who lived at Mercyhurst, and we went to their house, and I walk in there, and there's like 4 girls living there. And they're like, yeah, our dad bought us this house for college. And I was like, at first I'm like, oh, wow, that's like rich girls. Like, I wish I had that problem.
And you start doing the math.
So then now I'm in real estate. I figured out that guy probably bought this house for maybe 20% down out of his pocket. He charges those girls each like $500 a month to live there. The mortgage on the house is probably less than $1,000 a month, and now he's bringing in $2,000. He's paying for his kids to go to college. He turns around when they graduate in 4 years, sells the house, makes money because it's appreciating. So now he just made all his money, and I look at it in the moment, I was like, wow, what a rich guy. Like, but now I think back, I'm like, I'm going to do the exact same thing when I have kids someday. I'm like, and I tell people that, I'm like, there's so many cool things about real estate that I had no idea until I got into it that, you know, now you're thinking, you're like, maybe I could do that. You know, if I have kids, that guy just saved, like, he's going to Mercier's paying like $50,000 a year per kid. Now he's making an extra $12,000 and appreciating. If he would have held on to that house now, he probably made $50,000, you know, in a 7-year span. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The power of real estate. It's not just buying and selling. Like, I like that, but my end goal is ultimately like to make sure that my investment side outweighs it later on. So passive income, man, it's dope. Like, I used to hate the first of the month when I had an apartment because I had to pay rent. Now the first of the month comes and I love it. It's what's just like, it's like ding ding. My phone's just like ding ding, and I'm like, okay, cool.
And you get it every month.
Every month. Every month.
So you have something to look forward to every month.
You know what's crazy is the months go quick when you're a landlord. I'm like, I feel bad for some like people. I'm like, that was me. I was paying $900, and I remember I was at my old job making, you know, decent money, but $900 a month, that's like half your paycheck just coming right out. And now saving, not having to do that, all because of a simple investment. You know, I bought this apartment complex, and the numbers made sense. And I bought that 2 years ago, and like now it's probably worth $20,000 more. So I've made all that rent, and then now appreciation because the market is skyrocketing. So it's real estate's cool, and it's very like, some people don't understand it, so they hate on it. They're like, oh, how did you do that? Well, I worked at a job for 2 years. I saved every dollar I made. I paid off student loans, and then I bought a house, but I house hack it. So I bought an apartment complex like I bought a single family home, because you can buy 1 to 4 units with a 3.5% down payment. So like, say on $100,000, you only have to put $3,500 plus closing costs. But there's little things out there that you could get credits from the sellers that could cover closing costs. So like, now it's hard to do that, but when I first got into real estate, like, it was that the house I bought was on the market for a year before I bought it, and that house would probably sell in the first week now. So it's crazy how 2 years is different. But being a young, like, when I bought it, I was 26, to eventually save enough money so I can go buy something later on in life and still have this side hustle. Like, that's like my retirement plan. You know what I mean? It's like a 401k. As long as I keep it in good shape, it's like over the next 30 years that those 2 houses that I have could pay for my future kids' tuitions, you know, or their lives. So,
yeah, because like you said, you're not only are you going to make the money each month, eventually you can sell that house for way more than you bought it for. Yeah.
I mean, with rental properties, you don't really, your idea isn't really to make profit off the house. Like, I look at it as it's a house, but where you make your money is the rent. So like, it's like this is what happens where people buy houses, they hold them for 30 years. In the crazy market like right now, they've squeezed all of them. Like, they've let the houses go, but they're still squeezing top rent out. So like, I saw a thing it was a meme the other day. It was like, people want 2021 rent with 1970 homes. So it's like something like that. They're still expecting to get the same rent. So people are selling now because there's nothing really out there. So you're buying distressed properties at top end price. So these landlords are killing it. But now if I buy something like that, I got to put money into it to get it functioning again. So it's tough, but the ones that I have now, luckily, are in good enough, like, and they're in good shape where, you know, I can get good rents out of them and they'll last long. But like, I want to buy something else right now. There's nothing. I haven't seen anything that I really love, and I have the luxury of seeing it firsthand because I'm a real estate agent, so I see it every day. So, but when I see something I like, I'm probably gonna bounce on it, find something.
True. Okay, so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself at 20 years old?
Well, that's a good one. So I'm 28, 8 years ago.
Like still in college.
Yeah, I would say enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Don't stress the little things. Like I still remember graduating college and like wondering what I was going to do. I feel like there's that perception where there's those kids that walk around campus that are like, okay, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer. They know what they want to do. But the vast majority of it, like the degenerates, like I was an average student. Like I liked to snowboard. I liked to, hang out with friends. Like school was like not my favorite thing. I went to college because it was what I was supposed to do, So don't, there's going to be those kids that know exactly what they're doing. Like, don't compare yourself to them because it's okay to not know. I'm 28 now and I just got into this like 2 years ago and I finally found what I really like to do. So it took me 8 years or 6 years after college to really like find it, but I experienced a lot of things. So be open-minded, have fun, like literally like enjoy your life, because though when I was 20, like that was like, I thought my problems then were tough, but like then you get older and you're like, I can't even stand out of bed because my knees hurt so bad. And like you go and hang out with friends and you wake up and you have one beer the night before and you feel like you feel it takes you 2 days to recover. So like enjoy like being 20, because you don't need to know what you're gonna do. There's the kids out there that they're doing cool things, but don't compare yourself. If you go work a job at Waldermere, or you go have fun for a summer, like don't get mad at yourself. Like enjoy the ride, because you're gonna be regretting if like you put all your time and effort into school, or you're so strict with yourself on things. Like enjoy, stop and smell the roses. Like I talk about it with my mom all the time, because my dad, when he passed away, he was like 42. So like that's young, that's super young. He had 3 kids, and like. If I guarantee if I would have asked him on his last day what he would have, like what he wish he would have spent more time on, I guarantee he would have said, I wish I would have worked less, or something like that. And I wish I would have spent more time with family, or I wish I'd had more fun. So I get on myself a lot about it because I'm like, I work a lot, but I know the efforts that I'm doing now are going to pay off in the end so I can enjoy certain things. But if you're 20 years old, just have fun, like enjoy life, and realize that you don't need to know everything at that moment. Like there's so many kids that are so stressed out. Like when I worked in that juvenile detention center, like these kids, they just think they need to know everything. Like you need to go to college, you need to know what you're going to study, you need to know what the next thing is. Like it's okay not to know, And I don't think a lot of people tell that. Like they do, but they don't. Do professors at your thing tell you, it's okay not to know. Like the next 3 years, you're going to just be going through life and you're going to learning who you are as an individual outside of college, like outside of school. Like when you leave college for the first time and you get away from your friends and you go back and live at your mom's house, like that's what I was. I was living at my mom's house after, and like you're like, okay, I can't stay up till 2 a.m. My friends aren't coming over. Like we're not doing this and this. I can't walk to that person's house. Like it changes you. It's like, wow, college was cool, and that's why I say everyone like to experience it, but it's a different world outside of it, so it's okay not to know. I think that's the biggest thing, is just have fun. Be your kid. You're still a kid. You're gonna work the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel like you were asking about like professors and whether or not they like communicate, whether it's like okay not to know.
Yeah.
I feel like from my experiences, like the high school teachers were the ones that were like, that shit's not gonna fly in college. Like you got to be like serious. Like this is the rest of your life. And then like I got to college and I'm like, the professors, like yeah, they care, but like at the same time, like if you don't show up to class, they're not on your ass about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like it was less stressful than high school was.
Yeah.
For some reason.
One of my business partners, he's a professor at Penn State. He teaches like freshman year economics, and like we talk all the time. And he's like, if the kids don't want to learn, they don't. I can't force them to learn. He's like, but I go. He's a realist. And like, I love the kid, love the guy. He's the type that he'll walk into a classroom and like slam his hand on the desk and he'll be like, "Alrighty, who's ready to learn?" And then if you don't want to learn, like he's still teaching. Like, and then he gets is real with it. But if you ask him like a serious question, like, "Am I okay? Is it okay for me not to know what I want to do tomorrow?" He'll look at you and he'll be like, "You're not supposed to know." You know, if you know what you're supposed to do tomorrow, guarantee that plan's going to change 100 times before you actually do anything. So, like if I would have known in college that I was going to come and sell real estate by the time I was 28, I would have told you I was lying. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. I thought I was going to be sitting in a big fancy office. I thought I was going to be running the city, but here we are. So
Yeah, I mean, your story is actually like incredible. I mean, what you've been able to accomplish just this past 2 years is,
yeah.
I mean, a lot more than most people are doing. A lot more.
Just got to have a drive, and you like just be ready to experience life and do things. Like I still remember sitting at my job, my healthcare job, and I just was fed up with it. I just was looking for an out. I still remember I bought this apartment complex thing, and my coworkers and boss, they were like joking around with me, calling me a slumlord. Like they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be a slumlord," blah blah blah, and I'm like that's actually very hurtful. I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. Like I'm trying to change my life right here, and like when you do things that other people don't conventionally do, or like they're not thinking about it, it looks weird to other people. So like I think I told you last time, keep things quiet. Like make sure you hold things to your chest. Like make moves silent because once they're vocal, like people try to push you away from it. They'll like talk you out of it. Like when I quit my job, I didn't even tell my girlfriend and my mom. Like I just quit the corporate world. I was like, I hate this. I said, I'm a person that I'm gaining weight. I'm feeling miserable with myself. I'm sitting at this desk. I just did it. Had no idea what was going to be the next opportunity, and then I just knew I was going to succeed. You know, you have to drive and motivation. But
I also feel like for the older generation, they can't really like wrap their head around doing something like unconventionally. Like they grew up, went to school, went to college, got a job, worked, retired. That was it. So when and that was like their plan. So like, and for us in our generation, like we know like our plans change every minute. Yeah. We were supposed to do this last Tuesday, and something changed, rescheduled. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's just a different world, and I think that like my parents, your parents, like, it's hard for them to wrap their head around it until you've done it. Now, like, your mom's not like, you can't be doing that.
Oh, now it's crazy. It's like, my mom's like, wow, you should have done it sooner.
Yeah. That's
my mom works in her job since she was 21 in college. So my mom's 60s. If you're watching this, Mom, you're 21. But she started at her job when she was 21, right out of college. She's been there 46 years. The same job for 46 years.
Yeah.
And I see so many people that are like, oh, yeah, I've been here 30, 40 years. But now our generation, the average person stays at a job for like 2-3 years, and they go and find another one, 2-3 years, bouncing around to get different levels of income. Like you can find a different job that pays you more. I talk to my mom all the time. It's like, why'd you stay at this company for 46 years? Well, my dad passed away, so she couldn't pursue anything else. But she worked like different jobs in the company and like got promotions, and now she's like, doing this cool stuff probably about to retire in a couple of years. But you don't see that too often. Like I don't know anybody else that really works at their job for that long. Like, but that's an old school mentality thing. Now, kids our age, like how many people do you know that want to be an entrepreneur or want to start their own business or do anything like that? Like that was not a thing. Like that was frowned upon back in the day. Like you had to go get a job. I got a question for you guys. Do you know where the 9 to 5 came from?
I personally don't. You definitely know. Come on.
I don't.
You don't know where the 9 to 5 came from?
Uh-uh.
So it came from Ford Company. Okay. So I read this don't count me on it, but I read this in an article a couple years ago, and it stuck with me, that the 9 to 5 job came from the Ford Company, where they said, hey, if you give us 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, and you do this for 30 years, we'll give you a pension for the rest of your life. So the average person lived till 65? So they would work for 30 years. They would retire at 50. So now you got 15 years that they're paying for. So they were like, hey, we're going to give you money for the rest of your life, but you have to give us 30 years. And then every company adapted that. And that was like, and then I don't even remember the year, but Ford, don't count me on it, but I'm pretty sure Ford company started that. And then every company took suit, and like now pensions aren't really a thing. I think your insurance gives a pension. But so the 9 to 5 really isn't like, it hasn't been around forever. If you think about it, it's probably been the last 100 years, maybe less than 100 years. But it's what we've grown up on. And it's like what this generation thinks, hey, I need to get out of here and get a 9 to 5. And that's similar to like 2 to 10, basically working 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. You get 2 weeks paid vacation. But while you're on that vacation, you better believe somebody from your office is calling to complain that you didn't do enough while you were gone, or while you were here to prepare for while you're gone. So you're never really gone. So that's my experience. But yeah, it's crazy. There's so many different options. But now this generation is kind of seeing through that. You know, there's different routes than the conventional route. And that's not saying it. I think I told you that before. I don't say it's not for everybody. It's just not for me. So it could be for somebody. Like if you like that style of work, it's a great job for you. But if you're an entrepreneur, you can't sit still, always looking for the next best thing, you're gonna struggle. Like I felt like I was trapped in a cage, sitting at a desk all day, just looking out the window, like wearing a sweater in 90-degree weather because the office was chilly. You know, like no, thank you.
I think I found that I didn't want to work like a 9 to 5 job. I worked at TJ Maxx for over 2 years.
Yeah.
And just like seeing the people who've been working there for so long, I'm just like, I just never want to do that.
Yeah.
And like that's just been like I just hate working there.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the place. They're good people there, but it's just like that they're telling me what to do every single. Like I don't know.
You don't do well with direction.
No, I don't. Like I would rather make decisions for myself and for other people opposed to like having people like go clean the piss in the bathroom or whatever.
I remember getting talked to by my boss at my one job. He said, JP, I think we need to sit down and have a talk. I go, oh my goodness. He goes, we need to talk about how you write emails. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, every time you write an email, you put exclamation points on it, and we just think it's very sarcastic the way you talk via email. I said, oh, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry. Do you not want me to be excited? And they're like, we know what you mean. I go, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't take a course in how to type corporate email. He's like, oh, it was bad. And at that moment, I was like, this sucks. Like, I say, thank you, have a great day! Exclamation point. And then now I'm getting reamed at. We think the way you're talking in the office via email isn't really professional. All right, see ya. I'm gonna start my own business. I'll be my own boss. Yeah, so that's stuff like. But I love that I learned that. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like I hate that I learned that, but I love that I have all that experience because it's like I can go corporate on somebody in a heartbeat. You know, because I have that experience. Like somebody wants to send me a nasty email. Okay, I'll save that. I'll send that to somebody. I'll get my attorney involved. You want to talk? You want to go corporate on it? Let's do it. Let's party. I've been around the block, so. But that's something that like I do want the younger generation to experience stuff like that. You have to work. Like, you know, I think people see that where they're like, hey, how do I get a job after college when they say you need 5 years of experience? Well, how am I going to get 5 years of experience if I don't have any experience to get the experience job, you know? So go get experience. Go work the crappiest job because the biggest thing that I didn't understand was when I was like 21, 22, I come out of college and I'm like, yeah, I got this college degree. And then I'm like, I deserve more than anybody else. And then you go and apply at jobs.
Everybody has the same one.
Everybody has that same piece of paper and they go, here, $13 an hour. That's how much you're worth. You know, how much is your time worth? How much is your life worth? When you're fresh out of college, unless you're like a nurse or an engineer, like if you just have a standard degree, you know, what sets you apart from other people, like where you were you the president of your fraternity? You know, I did hiring for one of my job, and I would see things, and I was like, president of fraternity, do this. I was like, doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? None of that matters. Can you do this job? We can only pay you $14 an hour. Will you take that? No? Okay. See ya. We'll find somebody else. But now I'm not a hiring manager anymore, but it's like now people can't, my buddies are hiring managers. They can't get anybody to walk through the door, you know? COVID made people so lazy. So,
All right, so I got another question for you.
yeah.
If I were to grab a duffel bag, $1 million cash on the table,
Yeah.
what are you doing with it?
What am I doing with $1 million?
Like, are you like business wise? You gonna go spend have some fun or like?
Oh, no. In this
He's
point,
not having fun.
no, in this point in my life, I mean, I might take $20 out and go to Chipotle, but
Oh, yeah.
Now we're talking.
I'd put $1,020,000 in there then if that's what you're doing. You'd get,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
get
$1,020,000.
Chipotle for
if
free.
I had $1 million, I just asked this question. I just asked a question on my Facebook, so I'm very vocal on social media. And I asked my investor friends, I said, hey, if somebody gives you $1 million and they say you have 90 days to turn this into $5 million, or they take it back, what are you doing? And like so many other people were like, oh, I'm going to the casino, I'm flipping this, I'm doing that. If I was just given $1 million, I would turn $1 million into a stupid amount of money in the next 10 years and never work again, but hold my real estate license and sell real estate when I want to, and then start my own brokerage or do something cool, and then just literally have like a house. I go. This is my mindset, is like I want to buy houses in different places of the country, but I don't actually want to like live in them. I want to just have them if I want to go live in them, but then have them generate income like Airbnb or VRBO. So like Colorado, I'm a big snowboarder. California. So I turn $1 million into, so $1 million, break this down. So $1 million, you could buy, what's 20%? Say you're buying, $100 million or something, whatever, 20%, whatever $1 million is 20% of. You can buy that. You can buy something like $10 million, 20% of, I'm not good at math, but 20% of $10 million is like $1 million, right? I'd
I
assume
don't know. I'm not a math major.
Say it is. And so now you can go buy $10
That-
million worth of something with that $1 million as your down payment, and then get the funds that $10 million is generating. So, and then you turn that, and then you repurpose or you recycle that and do cool things. I might buy a car eventually. Like I drive a 2008 car right now. I just hit 100,000 miles on it. So, like luxury things isn't my thing. Like, I mean, I'd love to have something. I just can't. I can't do that stuff. I just was raised different. Like I was raised with coupons. Like you talk to my girlfriend, our first date, I probably bought her dinner with a coupon code, like a buy one get one free. Like it's hard for me to spend what I make. So it's not really about the money in this, but $1 million, I'd probably just hold on to it and turn it into something crazy. I'd like to spend it. Gosh, I'd like to spend it, but it's not going to happen. It's just too hard. What would you spend $1 million on?
That's a good question. If I were, hold on one second. I'm gonna restart the cameras. Continue talking. I gotta think though,
I already have my answer.
okay. Well then, you can share. You can share.
We're taking $1 million
Yeah.
straight to every thrift store we can get our hands on.
You
Dude.
get a thrifty shop and then put it all on eBay, or
Yes.
Dude, that's
we
what we're
we were
doing.
literally listing things as you were getting here.
yeah.
We went and spent like what, $35? Yeah. We had gonna retail for like $300.
Yeah. Dude, I miss having the mindset like you guys have, where like young, where you can literally just like
Go do whatever.
do
we
whatever
want,
you
and we
want.
don't care.
Yeah.
Like the people are like, we already looked those up online. We're like, well, we're gonna sell this $2 mug for $15. I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, if there's just no possible way we lose money.
Yeah.
And plus, if we did, it's $35.
Yeah.
that we
Like
split,
I'll lose $35 to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I would. How much money am I gonna spend on a textbook
Yeah.
at school?
I used
Way more than that.
I used to be I used to like to gamble a lot before I got into real estate. Like when I hit 21, my buddy took me to the casino. I have a compulsive personality. Like I just like to play games and win money and do things like that. So for like a year, I was pretty hooked on gambling, like going to the casino, winning money. And then I finally got out of it and put all that juice I had into real estate. But I think about it, like I was going to the casino all the time and just watching the same people. I'd go there a bunch of times and the same people there just gambling away, you know? So I feel like you guys would probably like to gamble. Like, you ever go to like these fairs and pull off like the tickets, like trying to win little like
like 50-50s?
Yeah, well, not 50-50s, but like the raffle things where you could just like get like the balloons. If you get all the balloons in a row, you win like 10, 20 bucks.
No.
I don't know.
I feel like
I'm
you
too
guys
young.
have that personality where like, don't go to the casino when you get 21 because it's addicting. Because then you'll be like, oh, I can make 500, 600 bucks, but then it just goes out the door.
Yeah. No,
It's because the house always wins.
Yeah, realistically.
I feel like me and you would just start buying weird stuff. That would to sell.
Yeah, like to resell
Like
stuff.
bulletproof vests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
Freshman
cool.
year, we were gonna buy a bunch of bulletproof vests. We were gonna
Try to
we
resell
try to
them.
get as many people in as we could.
Yeah.
So we're gonna buy like 20 bulletproof vests, so that we could get ours for free and sell them to everybody else.
How much does a bulletproof vest go for?
Oh, we were finding them on Alibaba for like 21 bucks.
Yeah.
But it was from Alibaba. So
Dude, when I before I got into real estate, I was like at my old job, just searching, what I could do, and I was looking at what is it? Not Airbnb, but
drop shipping.
drop shipping, but it's not. What's another term of it? There's like another.
I always see it on TikTok, and I was like,
There's another thing where I was looking at things, and I was so close to putting so I had before I quit my job, I had like $5,000 saved up, and I was watching all these videos how to basically drop ship and how to find a product and how to do this and buy it off of Alibaba and do all these things. And I was like talking to my boss, like at the time we're like sitting there like bull crapping, and I found taco stands, like you go to a restaurant and you get taco stands and you get like a pack of 3. So what I learned is like you want to buy things that don't have a high return rate. So like taco stands are just bent metal, and you just put your tacos there, and for a 3-pack, it's $15. So they
You
said,
can't break. Like nothing can go wrong with that.
yeah. So they said the lowest you should go is like $15. And at this time, I had like no money saved up, so $5,000. I was like, I'm ready to buy $5,000 worth of taco stands, and I was so close. But my boss talked me out of it. He's like, listen, I don't think taco stands are the thing, blah, blah, blah. And then I went and used that $5,000 to buy my apartment complex. But I always think, what if those taco stands, and I talk about it with my girlfriend all the time, and I'm like, she's like, enough with the taco stands. I'm like, but what if those taco stands would have blown up and I would have been a young millionaire because of, they even had like dinosaur taco stands, and I was just going to become the taco stand man, because I was like, everybody loves tacos. I'll go around to every restaurant in Erie, and I'll tell them to buy these tacos, and if you flip them over, you can put 5 tacos. So they were like, it was like a W, but you put 3 in there, and then you could put 5. And they're like $15 for a 3-pack, and there's metal. There's no way they're breaking. 3 years ago, I could have been the taco stand man.
I think it's
I'm
never
about to
too
pull
late.
out-
So if you look up,
pull out of all my stock accounts, all my crypto accounts, and we're gonna double down.
oh, you on
top.
crypto? You
Yeah.
want to talk crypto? Okay, I like.
I don't. So own crypto is a loose term. I got in on your Coinbase,
Yes.
so that's who I go through for all my transactions. And when I got in, like back when Bitcoin hit like 25,
Yeah.
they were like, if you watch these videos,
25.
learn
25,000.
25,000. Yeah. So like, if you watch these videos, we'll give you money, like
Mm-hmm.
for these random coins. Because this one, there was like still today, there's like another one coming out every day. But like if you watch about these like smaller coins that people don't really know about, we'll give you money.
Mm-hmm.
So I got like $30. Like I got like $30 of just like watching these videos.
Yeah.
And at one point it was at like $250, and they didn't even know my bank account number. Like I hadn't given them any money. It was just
Oh,
like,
jeez.
yeah. So I was just like playing with it, and then I did end up buying a little bit of Ethereum.
Yeah.
But
You guys
down
own it? You guys own
8%
any?
today.
You know any?
I own.
You have some Bitcoin.
Yeah, I have Bitcoin and Ethereum.
What about
But it's-
Dogecoin?
No, I don't have any
Didn't get
Dogecoin.
on the Doge. Did you?
Hell yeah, I did.
I don't
Dude,
get
the
on.
guy who makes my T-shirts, shout out to Ty. I was working at the Erie Club as a valet, and he like studies crypto, and like this is when Bitcoin maybe a year and a half ago was at like $9,000, and so I'm sitting out there and I'm working with him. We're parking some cars, and he's like, "Me and my brother have been tracking this Bitcoin." He's like, "You need to go buy some Bitcoin," and I'm like, dude, this is before I'm in real estate. I'm trying to save money. I got a couple bucks, but I'm like, every penny counts. Like, I'm buying this house, blah, blah, blah. He's like, just buy some Bitcoin, buy something. I'm like, so I just did it. I bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin at when it was like $9,000.
Holy shit! It just
Now-
hit 50.
Yeah.
Well, I kept buying it, so I have like 0.25 of a share of Bitcoin, and so I put like $2,000 into it, and like I'm so mad because I think about it all the time. Like, what if I would have bought one coin at $9,000? But like I have $9,000 now, but I didn't have $9,000 then, and so it's like, why is the world working the way it's working? Like, but then I bought Dogecoin. So how I found out about Dogecoin is TikTok. So I was doing my TikTok marketing, and I kept seeing like people just laughing about this penny stock. And so I was sitting at the peak with my one buddy, and I was like, we're just joking around with like Robinhood accounts and stuff. And I was like, dude, buy some of this Dogecoin. He's like, no. So then later in that day, Dogecoin's at 0.0001, like below whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah, like
10,000th of
this
a
was
penny or
like
something.
this was like last January. So I bought like $500 worth of Dogecoin at 0.0001, and he did too. And so like then we just didn't look at it. Made like $30,000 like on Dogecoin. And like then when it hit 70 cents, $30,000, but now it's down lower, and like I should have sold a little bit, but I have hopes that it gets back up there. And I bought some SHIB coin, the Shiba Inu.
Oh, shit,
Yeah.
yeah.
I bought like
So like knock off Dogecoin.
yeah, but I bought it at the high. Like I guess I bought it at a high
Yeah.
point, so now I'm losing money, and it's like it's definitely frustrating. But I'll say so. Shout out to TikTok because made me $30,000 on a. I haven't cashed out, so I haven't made anything on it yet. But that little penny coin, like imagine if I would have just been known now what I know then. Like I would have bought like $50,000 worth
Yeah.
of it, and then just been sitting imagine just sitting on a Doge millionaire. There's
That'd be crazy.
There's some guys out there that are like,
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Well, I
But-
wouldn't say a lot, but there's
There's also but that's what everyone hears these success stories and like, oh my god, I need that. They don't realize there's probably 100 people to one
yeah,
that are on the other side. They took out loans and put it all in at the high.
at
and
the
now
70 cents. Now they've lost
now they're down
everything.
bad. Yeah.
Now their house is getting foreclosed on, and they're calling JP.
Yeah, they're calling JP
Oh, Dogecoin, the old Dogecoin failed, and now we got to call Mr. Hood. All right, I'll sell that puppy for you. Get you back what you lost.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That's funny.
I'm waiting for the next one though. There's gonna be I'm tracking TikTok, but now everybody tries to balloon them up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get in on GameStop? GameStop?
No.
GameStop. Sorry.
No, I didn't. I don't want to talk about that one. Missed that one. That's why I got into Doge, because I was like, I'm not letting another one pass me. Even if it loses, what's a couple $100? Like,
Yeah.
so I've just been putting like $100 in all these random stocks, and I'm gonna wake up one morning and it's gonna be like $5 million. One of them's gonna pop.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to, right?
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Stocks
Raise.
only go up.
Someday.
Yeah, no, I got in over the summer, and that's when it was like coming down. And I was just on Coinbase, so they gave me free money.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was on vacation just watching it keep dropping and dropping. I'm like, yeah, this is some bullshit. And then
Yeah.
eventually, like I don't know, probably 2 months ago, I looked at it and it was like coming back up, and I was like, yo, I kind of like this.
You just don't look at I used to look at my stocks every day, and now I just don't look, because I'm like, I can't even look at this. Like,
It's so up and down. And it's just
yeah.
It just like ruins your day sometimes.
Yeah, but then it's like crazy. I'll pop on it and it's like, oh, you made $2,000 today. It's like, crap. Okay, there we go.
See, I never have days like I never have days like that, but I never have like the red hurts so much more than the green feels good.
Well, 'cause
like
you
green
guys-
feels good, you're like, oh, good, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And red, you're like, come on.
What's the old saying? You got to spend money to make money. So like your lows are gonna be low because
That's what that's what you're
in
gonna
it.
buy.
But like your high, like if you can get in, and your highs will, like, the more money you spend, the more money you make, the more yada yada yada. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the hook for one because I bought it when it was I was trying to day trade. I was actually doing pretty good for a while, and
We have Forex
last
trader.
semester I would just hop on everything on Webull.
Mm.
And so I would buy the one I bought. It was coming down, and all the trends were like straight, and I was like, I'd already done this one like 3 times. I'm like, I'm hitting it. So I bought it, and then it just shot down, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, all right, and then it started coming back up. Bought it again. So I like bought twice, and then it just kept going down, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that reminds me of gambling a lot. I'm like, oh, I can't.
Yeah, no. That's
Can't
what
take the
I had to
losses.
stop on it. I was like, I can't get emotional. Because when you start getting emotional, that's when you really start losing.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know like I can't remember what it's called. It's like an online casino and they use cryptocurrency. Like all the big influencers, like dude, what's it called?
NFT.
No. It's literally like a casino. Like you play games online and you use like you can link like your Coinbase or like your Webull account.
No. I don't need to know none of that.
And okay, well, so
He said, stop.
I'm
What's
gonna
it
be I'm gonna be
called?
down in a negative by tomorrow.
it's called a Roobet, and
Don't know, thank you.
so I was like, I kept seeing all these people on it, and I'm like, I was like, I'm just gonna link my Coinbase account. It's not my money, and they gave it to me. I'm just gonna do it. And then I was like, thank God, because it's not
21?
available in the United States.
Oh, good.
So like, I was like,
Amen.
that could have been
It's a
bad
sign.
because
That's
I
a
was,
sign.
yeah, it
Gotta
was
stay away.
because I was gonna go crazy with it. I just could just feel it in my
Yeah.
soul.
I got a question for you boys. So, have you ever thought of what's your perception on real estate right now? Like at 20 years old, like I know when I was 20, I wasn't thinking of buying or selling or had any idea of what it even takes. Do you guys even know what it takes to buy a house these days? Like what?
I haven't answered a half your question.
Yeah, I haven't answered.
I
I
have
have
no
to. You
idea
shoot
what it
first,
takes.
though.
No idea what it takes. But I grew up, my dad owns a family business, and that's just how I always grew up working the family business. And that's like, he's always wanted, that's always his thing. He's like, I want to buy like a couple rental properties and then just start, like, that's how I'm going to get out of this business. is
What's
get
the
into
business?
rentals. Sell snack foods at grocery stores. So we
Okay.
deliver chips and crackers and cookies and all that stuff to Walmart and Giant Eagles and
That's
it's called
cool.
wholesale distribution. Yeah. But, so like I've always like I understand the business behind like the duplex, like when you're talking about like house hacking and all that stuff, and like one of my best friends, he goes to John Carroll, and like he's like trying to talk his mom into it. He's
Yeah.
like, Mom, let me buy this house.
Yeah.
Let me buy this house. I'll live in half. I'll sell the like other half. People live in there. Like I'll live for free.
Yeah.
And she's like, nah, like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have no idea what it takes.
Okay. Like
Have you sat down?
financial wise and stuff. No, not even. How about you?
I have no idea what it takes, but I am like a little bit familiar with it because I'm just like looking into it and just reading, seeing stuff on social media or whatever.
Yeah.
But my brother lives in Hilton Head, South Carolina,
Okay.
and he's just like renting out a place, like and paying monthly. He pays like I think it's like $2,500 a month because it's
Yeah.
on Hilton Head, and me and my brother are like talking my dad into like buying a place down there
Yeah.
and just renting it out because my brother lives down there, so they're always just like back and forth. And my dad's he's an engineer, so he's a very like critical thinker, and he's just like whatever.
Yeah.
And like we've been talking to him, like you said, like you put your down payment down, and then you're making money that's paying for the mortgage monthly, whatever. So you're like you have that place for free technically when you're like renting it out.
Essentially, yeah.
Right. But I just think like for him, it's like he's just such like a critical thinker, and that's just not something that like he would do.
Yeah.
It's like holding him
It's
back a little bit.
unconventional.
Right.
And it's like it's been around forever, dude. If you think about it, like real estate's been around forever. Like there used to be a time where there wasn't buying agents; it was just listing agents. People would have to find houses through the newspaper. Like there's this book. All these older agents tell me that there was this book that they would find, and they'd go look at these houses, and it took weeks to find something. Now it's like in a matter of this. But
Couple pictures.
how crazy is it? I look back, how crazy is it that like high school and college, unless you're really in like a business class, like they don't even teach you how to do certain things. Like why isn't it taught in school how to invest your money or save your money, or like why does it take somebody to go watch a YouTube video to say, wow, like you can do this? Like what's your guys' opinion on that? Like I feel like high school and college. My brother and sister, they're both high school teachers, and my girlfriend's a teacher. A bunch of my friends are teachers, and like we talk about it all the time. It's like there's no like common sense class, you know, how to change a tire, how to write a check, how to, like, I mean, some maybe do that, but why is, like, the average 20-year-old, 19, 20-year-old doesn't even know the certain steps to buy a house to prepare you to do it. Like, imagine if I told you you're 20, while you're in college or year after college, make sure you work 2 years, have a 2-year job history, pay some debt, make sure that your debt to income ratio is lower. Like, don't take out a ton of debt outside of college loans. And like having a 2-year work history, you could go buy a house and save that money. Like no one teaches that, you know. It's like, why? That's my question, is like, why does society not want the younger generation to understand?
It doesn't fit the curriculum.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's bullshit. Like, yeah, they don't tell you how to teach it. They don't like teach you how to change your tire, like open a checking account, like invest your money. It's like, you're gonna go to college. The high school teacher's like, you're gonna go to college, and it's gonna be super hard, and there's gonna be no bullshit, and you're gonna get a job, you're gonna work, you're gonna retire, you're gonna get your 401k, and that's it.
You're gonna be too tired when you go to your 9-to-5 job that when you get outside, when you go home from work, you're not gonna wanna think outside the box.
Right.
So it's like, it's just society teaching people how to stay stagnant, you know. Yeah. At least that's my opinion. Don't quote me on it. I'm not a theorist or anything like that. It frustrates me when I see people that have so much potential, or they want out, but they can't leave their jobs because they're in so much debt. And then they can't buy a house because they're in so much debt from the institutional place that got them into debt, but never taught them how to get out of debt. You know, they'll take all your money, they'll put you in debt, but they're, you know, unless you study something, like I'm sure there's options out there to learn things. But like when I was in college, I took this one class, like I paid money for a walking class. It was called Walking 101. How does that benefit my life? Like, how did that teach me how to walk? You know?
So you just walked? Is that it?
We just walked around the campus, and it was like a physical education class. So you had to take that, but it was just called Walking 101. So I paid money. You know,
that kind of sucks.
It's like breathing 101.
Yeah. Holy shit.
But imagine if I would have taken like a bank checking at class 101. You know, that was pushed upon me versus something that, I don't know. It's crazy, and that's why it's like when you do something like what I'm doing, where I'm out of the ordinary, doing kind of following my own path, people look at it like it's strange because they're afraid. Most of the time, people are afraid to make that leap because it's unconventional. They're like, you know, how am I gonna? I can't give up my paycheck. I can't give up I'm in so much debt that if I don't make this payment next month, like, I'm screwed. You know, I could lose my car. I could lose this. But then there's the whole thing of keeping up with the Joneses. You know, I still see friends and family that are like, you know, they get a promotion. Guess what? Now their cost of living, so they go buy a bigger house. They go buy a more expensive car. So they're making more money, but their debt stays the same. You know, it's like you're making $50,000, now you make $60,000. So now that person says, well, I'm making $60,000, I'm going to go buy a car. My payments are $200 more. And then they're in the same position they were last year. So that raise doesn't really mean anything. You know, the people that save the most money are like, you know, you're wealthy if you're making $90,000 a year, but your cost of living is you're spending $80,000, and then you're making $50,000 and you're spending $20,000. Who's richer? You know,
like all that stuff's for other people too.
Yeah.
You're buying that bigger house, it's not for you because you want
unless you got kids and stuff and you want them to go.
Yeah, maybe. But like if for your situation where you said they just made more money and that's why they're going to get a bigger house, it's just like, oh, look, I'm making more money. Like I can do this. Look, I can like.
Yeah, I got this one friend. He likes to flex all the time, and it's like, it's just like it's very just like I know what he like. We worked at the same job at one point, and he's just flexing, like trying to tell people he does this and that. I'm like, what is that accomplishing? You know, just be a real person, be genuine. Like, no one cares. I mean, people look like they care, but like at the end of the day, when you go home, you're by yourself or you're with the person that cares about you the most. Like, you don't need to get on social media and flex. And it's crazy. I don't know. You guys probably see it a lot too. Like, you get a kid wearing a Gucci belt that doesn't even have a job, you know? stuff like that.
We call that daddy's money.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple more questions here.
I have my 2 more that I always ask.
Okay. So I'll just use myself as an example. I feel like I'm a business major, I'm business management, entrepreneurship major.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I obviously don't like know what I'm going to be doing. Like, obviously, I'm working with Nick now, doing a podcast. I run, go to school, like just whatever.
Yeah.
On paper, it's like, oh, he knows what he's going to do. In reality, I don't at all.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying new things
Mhm.
at this point. And I feel like I wouldn't want to be like a real estate agent, but I would want to own rental properties.
Yeah.
So for someone like me, what is like the first step? What's a good first step
To
to like just start getting into the, into the world of real estate, if you will?
So the first step, I would just say educate yourself. Go read a book, listen to a podcast, dive yourself into anything that's is real estate related. Like there's some good books out there. I could list 100 of them. But the biggest thing is like, say you're 21 years old, you're graduating college. Now you want to get into some real estate, but you have no money. You have no expertise. You have no experience in it. You have no, what do you bring to the table? So look at yourself in the mirror and go, how do I get involved in a thing where I want to make money later on in life? What do you have that somebody could use? You have work ethic. You have drive. You go work for somebody for free. You could go and just learn from somebody, like just, pick up the phone and call a couple investors, like join the Erie Facebook investors group, pick out somebody that's doing well or that has a popular name, call them up, take them to lunch, pick their brain, meet people, get connections. Like there's so many things that you can do to get involved in real estate without having money, and then start talking to people and then work for somebody for free, educate yourself. And then you never know if you're in the right place at the right time. Like imagine if you're working with somebody and you're just helping them, like you're moving couches, like you're doing the things that they don't want to do. Most real estate investors pay people to do what they don't want to do, unless there's things like I could give you a list of jobs to go paint rooms and doors. And at 20, you have that, you're ready to do it. You'll make, we'll pay you a couple bucks to do that. You'll jump at it. Guess what? That experience that you're learning from somebody could be worth so much more. And then when you're 25, which is crazy to think, 20 to 25, but it just happens. Now you're around those people, and now you finally saved up enough money, and you go, let me ask this person, where do I spend this money? And then, there's money to be found out there. Like people are dying to give away their money. There's like things called hard money loans. You can get different types of loans where people will just give you your money and give you money instead of a bank, but they want interest rate. They want percentages back. But you get around enough people where money becomes like you could find money. So just associate yourself with that. But it takes a while, and that's why so many people get in and then get right out, because it is so difficult you have to put the time. There's no like secret sauce to get it from day one to 5 years from now. Like you can't skip those phases. I think that's why a lot of people get discouraged and they get out really quick, because they're like, oh, I'm not painting doors. I'm not doing the things. I'm not putting my grunt work in. Because like realistically, you guys show up to work for me, I'm not putting you at the front of the line. I'm putting you right in the back. You're going to show me if, you're going to go mow my yards. You're going to go mow my tenants' things. You're going to paint. You're going to fix toilets. You're not fix toilets, but you're going to go do little things. And if you prove to me that, hey, you're going to last longer than a year, all right, well, now we're going to drop all this knowledge and then help you. You just, there's too many people that come in and get out. So, yeah. But that's like, you can look at that as everything. Like, look at a job. Like, you go get a job at anywhere. Say you work at Erie Insurance, they're going to put you right at the worst job, see if you survive. They're not going to give you you're not going to become CEO the first day. You're not going to become an engine, you're the best engineer the first day. They're going to give you the things that people don't want to do because you're young and inexperienced. So you have to go through the crap to get to the thing, but just calluses you.
Yeah, because that was the exact response I was anticipating.
Yeah.
So, because I recalling back to that Samsel podcast, you kept saying like, do the bitch work,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there.
Literally, like I worked in so many jobs where, like, they just sent me to do the worst things because these older people, when they look at you and they laugh, they just be like, like here's the little JP's 20 years old, mowing and painting pipes and doing this, working firework tents, sleeping with a baseball bat, trying to get ahead, you know. But then JP gets into real estate, sells a lot, and now it's like overnight success. But where's the overnight success? There's none. So it's like everybody, they're not going to see that, and that's why it stinks. It's like to any job you're going to get into, they're not going to see what you're doing now. What's the good saying? People are, you know, what you're doing now, people are going to ask why you're doing it.
Because
later,
you did what they didn't want to do.
Later are going to ask how you did it, you know. So.
You got to do the things people don't want to do the things people want to do.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I got my 2 questions I asked everybody.
Hold on, before you ask the 2 questions, let me just restart this one last time.
Okay.
I just don't want to lose any of this. Being extra cautious.
They're still kicking.
Oh, we're still rolling.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. Probably is not going to cut any of this shit out. Just going to leave it.
I wouldn't just raw dog.
Yeah.
Raw dog it.
Raw dog it. Okay.
All right. In a year. Yeah, I always ask for like a longer term goal.
Mhm.
Yours obviously not long term, but in a year, where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself? Top agent in Erie, top this, doing this much, this many rental properties.
Yeah.
Any goals in a year?
Oh yeah, ton of goals.
Okay, I know you're a silence guy. You don't have to reveal everything, but if you have one you'd like to.
No,
Let out.
Speak your goals to into existence. That's what I think. It's not about being a number 1 realtor. Like obviously, I'd like to win that Erie Choice thing.
No, that'd be a cool thing.
But there's no way. Like I'm competing against families or like the big brokerages out here. It's like it's families. Like they don't recruit. They just reproduce. So for me, I don't care about being a number 1 realtor or anything. I just want my brand. So I started this. It's just me, JP Hood. It's like my own little thing. I want that to be a household name. I want when people, younger generation, I want people to, when they think of real estate, I want to be the first call. I want my goal, so January to January this year, I wanted to sell $10 million in real estate. I don't think I'm going to hit it. I think I'll be close. But I'm probably going to be around like 70 houses sold this year. So I think next year, how cool would it be to sell 100 houses? You know, I don't worry about the volume because the volume doesn't matter. You know, it's transactions. Like I worry about the personal aspect of it, helping as many people as I possibly can. Imagine if I helped 100 families buy or sell next year, like that. Nobody's doing that. Like nobody's doing that around here. But with that comes a lot of pressure. So I think being able to delegate. So I hired an assistant, but I'm probably going to bring on somebody else too. And then to basically scale. So I'd like to keep going and just every year get better. Rental property, I really haven't gotten, like I like what I have. I haven't seen anything crazy that I want. I have been thinking about getting an Airbnb, like just have something like that I could have like for fun and use it when I want in a cool area. So right now I'm in a grind mode of just, I love selling. So making sure I can help as many people as can, have a positive relationship with my family, my girlfriend, stay active, stay healthy. I think that's like the hardest thing, especially when you're always on the go. Like I live in my car, so making sure that I eat healthy, I stay mentally healthy, because like there's those moments when you don't go to the gym for like a week or you're doing this and that, can't find time, and like you're just like your mindset is just gone. So I'd say that just being more like staying positive and just trying to help as many people as I can while making sure I stay grounded. You know, I never want anybody to look at me and think of me in a different way, even though I sell a lot and like I'm still the same person. That's why I got into this, so I could have more freedom eventually. But sell a lot of houses, help a lot of people, create better relationships with friends and family. I don't know. Maybe I'll buy something cool too. I don't know. I like to wakeboard during the summer, so maybe I'll buy have a little boat. Maybe I'll buy a little bit bigger of a boat so I can get a bigger wake and do some stuff on it. But I don't know. That's probably it.
All right. Second question. What's the jankest thing you've ever done? Like,
Jankus?
yeah, like the most, like, I don't even know, like, ghetto thing you've ever done to, like, pull something off.
Like we'll
Like
give you an
something like-
example. Like,
I
we
get-
would like
Like
stack.
that. Like that.
Yeah, that's just, like,
this
balancing.
thing's broke, we just sit it on there. Or, like, just, like, something that, like, shouldn't work, but it's, like, what you got to do and you just make it work to get.
When I graduated college, me and my friend drove all the way across the country so I was going to Oregon, and I was snowboarding, and we hit a deer, and
While you were snowboarding or driving?
no, I was driving. We hit a deer, and the deer like blew out my windows, so we put cardboard on it, and we put like duct tape and all this stuff, and so then I slept in that same car for like 5 months with broken windows and duct taped cardboard thing at the bottom of a volcano, and just lived in a world where I would love to go back, but it just isn't possible anymore. But like lived in a broken down car for a little bit while I was working and snowboarding, and then I came back and I'm like, wow, how did I do that? So that would, I was sleeping in a car, waking up in different people's driveways and stuff. Like it was like a vacation town, so I'd hop from like
You knew someone wasn't home.
yeah, I just would look, and then I'd get Wi-Fi. So most people had like just Wi-Fi stuff. So I'd get my laptop out, watch Netflix, sleeping in my car, like a little mattress pad on there. And while the whole time, like I told my girlfriend I had a internship out there, but I really didn't. I just went to snowboard, and like then she found out, and she was a little mad. But I was like, "What are you gonna do? Come across the country? I'm 48 hours away." So that was probably like one of the wildest things I've ever done in my life, because like I had no home. Like I was for like 6 months. I was like homeless, but it was like it was like I look back, I'm like, how did I do that? I was just working at a bar, getting food there. Then I got a free ski pass to go ride at this mountain all day. I'd come home, hang out with my buddies. We'd go to the bar, met so many cool people, and then I'd sleep in my car like a degenerate. But it was normal out there in that time. Like, but I tell people all the time, like, do something crazy, because now I'm 28. I was 22
You can't
then.
do that.
Like, imagine if I would actually be homeless. Like 22, it's like, okay, this kid's like just experiencing life.
Yeah.
Now it's like, are you okay? Like, are you actually okay? So
I'm terrified to know what our answer is going to be at 28.
Yeah, I know. 10 years from now,
it won't be that bad.
you don't think? Oh, I think we're pretty tame people for the most part. I don't know. I was gonna ask you, when you slept in your car, were you like sitting in the driver's seat and just cranked?
No, it was a
Just in the
Ford. It
back?
was a Ford Escape.
Oh, nice.
So
So
I
you
had
had
the
some
seats
real
back.
estate in the back there.
Yeah, it's a seat back, and then I had like
Nice.
this one side, and then I had a roof rack on the top, so I'd have like all my gear up there, and then I'd dry my clothes and I'd hang them in the window, and
Frozen.
I'd wake up at no, it was warm all the time up there, so I'd wake up at 8 a.m. with the sun coming in the eyes, and go get a cup of coffee down at the local Gen, and then go snowboard or go to work, and I'd go shower at the local RV joint, running water, we'd have running water over there. I'd carry it was
Got it
dope.
figured out.
It was dope, but it's that's a common thing out there. So I probably would have, if I wasn't with my girlfriend, we've been together since then, I probably would have never came home. I'd probably be out there living in the woods somewhere, mountain manning up. It's crazy though. It's it was so freeing to do that stuff. I went surfing. I was doing cool stuff like that, and then now I still snowboard. I still work up at the peak, and that's my winter hobby. So still real estate, and like to be on a board sport all the time.
There you go. You have anything else?
Good.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Let the people know where they can find you, and maybe these people are gonna be too young to buy a house, but in a couple of years, man, making good connections.
Exactly. I'm gonna be around for a while. I'm still young, and you probably have parents or uncles, aunts, uncles, cousins that want to buy a house. So if you hear anybody talking about buying or selling a house, you can look me up at just JP Hood on Facebook. I'm So Hood on Instagram. You just type in the hashtag Meet JP Hood. I have over 100 posts, so it'll link you up to that. My TikTok is The Neighborhood. Just find me on one. It'll connect you to all of them. LinkedIn, professional site. I'm on LinkedIn too. It's John Patrick Hood. So that's my professional side. But find me anywhere on social media. Just reach out, send a DM. I answer all of my DMs. Like, anybody can message me. I'll answer any questions. I'll show you what you need to learn about. If you have any silly, there's no such thing as a silly question, I tell everybody. So find me on social media. Like my TikTok, share my videos, and tell
Help
people.
the algorithm.
Yeah, tell people to buy or sell with me. Let's hit 100. Help me hit 100 houses next year. So.
Well, cool, man. Thank you again for coming on. This is a good episode. Very insightful.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, boys.
Peace.
Got it.